I spoke to the family's attorney, Drew Martin, by phone late this afternoon. He told me, quote, the family is concerned the police department is minimizing this. Not only is the child still in the hospital, but he hasn't walked since he got to the hospital. These were not minor injuries. Pro Police Officer Chris Piku and his dog Splinter are under investigation. Splinter is a Belgian Malinois owned by the Pearl Police Department. Sunday, he escaped from the backyard of his handler, Chris Piku. A few short minutes later, he bit a 5-year-old boy in the legs.
He is still in the hospital. We spoke with mother earlier today.
Piku let Splinter out of his kennel, and then Piku went inside his house. That's when Splinter crawled under a 6-foot wooden fence gate just like this one. Pearl Police say Piku found the dog shortly after and didn't know Splinter bit anyone until a neighbor pointed it out.
Officer went to the door of the home and knocked on the door and said, hey, I understand my dog may have just bit your child. Can you tell me anything? And the mother responded that she was unaware that the child had been bitten and that the child was actually fine and was on the couch watching TV. The dog Splinter is currently under a 10-day quarantine. According to Pearl PD, though, when he does get out, he will go back to the trainers in Louisiana who will have to give him, quote, a refresher course. Police say this is an isolated incident. Had this been an attack, had this been provoked, had this been a sick'em, you know, obviously we would be dealing with a lot worse than what we are. I found out what a similar-sized Malinois could do when the Ridgeland PD introduced me to Cannon. Pearl Police say this is the first misstep for 3-year-old Splinter and Piku. My understanding, he has been a canine handler for over 20 years. His track record indicates that this is the first bite ever, and this is not what we call a street bite or in the line of duty bite. But as of Tuesday, the bitten boy was still in the hospital, and Pearl Police were bracing for civil consequences. According to the family's attorney, that boy wasn't bit just once, but several times by the police dog Splinter. The Pearl Police Department has a differing story on what they say happened. Live in Pearl, Scott Simmons, 16 WAPT News. That 5-year-old boy still can't walk after a police dog attacked him Sunday. Pearl Police described the boy's injuries as not severe. Well, I saw them for myself. They are. Little Jack Coulter says it was scary.
No, he bit me 6 times, I think.
6 times? Were they hard bites? Were they little bites?
They were big bites and really sore bites.
He bit you hard. Did you try to get him off you?
Yeah, but he still didn't get off of me.
He wouldn't let go of you?
He was a police dog.
5-year-old Jack Coulter sat in a wheelchair after surgery and spending 3 days in a hospital. The pictures of his bandages off reveal bite marks on both the inside and outside portions of both legs. Sunday morning, he was outside his home in Gluckstadt riding his bike when Pearl Police dog Splinter got out of the yard belonging to his handler, Chris Piku, and attacked Jack.
I was hanging on by a bike, but he pulled me back to the ground.
The dog pulled you back to the ground when you got on your bike?
He was banging my head onto the ground.
He was banging your head on the ground?
When he was trying to chew me.
There were marks on both legs. One was more superficial, and I say that humbly to say that it was more of a nudge. It wasn't a true bite, whereas the other was indeed a bite mark on there. The family says a neighbor had to jump in to stop Splinter from attacking the boy, at one point throwing a tire at the dog to get him to go away. Jack did manage to return to the couch of his home. At first, his mom didn't even know what had happened until Pearl policeman Chris Piku came to the door. Police say the boy was watching cartoons with a blanket over his legs and not even crying.
But there's been talk about he was on the couch watching TV. What he has said, actually, is he didn't want his mom to see how hurt he was.
Now Jack's mom is upset, not only with how Pearl Police described the attack on her son, but that the dog could return to their neighborhood.
It scares me to think that that dog might be back in the neighborhood. I would really hate for that to happen again. There's a lot of kids in this neighborhood.
We are looking at other measures that can be done, such as an electric fence around the base.
Certainly there is a possibility, a likelihood probably of a civil case. A lot of that depends on how Pearl responds to things. They're looking at an expensive and long road back for their son.
The Madison County Sheriff's Department says its investigation is closed and there's no charges. Splinter is in a 10-day quarantine. After that, he goes back to a trainer in Louisiana for more training, and then he is expected to return to police work.